Hey guys, what's up? It's Chris Schroeder with Reselling Electronics for Profit and Resellerator. Guys, today I have John with me. John is actually Canadian, but he's in the US and he actually just got married. So
I
congrats to
did,
that.
yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
guys, so I wanted to interview John today because his best month inside of Resellerator has been $5,000 in profit. Um, and I want to talk a little bit about where he was before, because he was in a position where most of you are before getting help. Okay. And then I want to kind of transition into like how he got the help and then like what are the goals now, right? So let's dive right into it. John, you want to tell him a little bit about yourself and like where you were before you joined Resellerator, how you found me, all of that.
Yeah, so before I got into Resellerator, I was just really interested in reselling because I thought it was a lot of fun. So I just started off looking up on Facebook Marketplace, going on OfferUp, and really just searching the market for good deals in my area. When I first started out, it was simple. Like I would just kind of look for iPhones. Didn't really get into consoles or any other sort of electronics. And I did pretty well. One of my best months when I was just on my own was about 2,000, 2,500 around there. And how I found those deals, like I said, was just through searching just my own personal outreach, right? But why I liked it so much was just fun going out and meeting people, running deals, stuff like that. It's just been a good time.
Love it. Yeah. So you were basically doing it through brute force, reach out method, which,
Yeah.
something to say about that method. Here recently, especially bringing Matt on the team, the reach out method is just all volume. Like the more volume you put in, the more money you're going to make, right?
Yeah.
So you were doing that, but you were I think I remember the phone call. You said you were interested in the ads part.
Yeah, so when I was doing it myself, I really didn't even know ads were a thing. I didn't like I saw people posting on Facebook, but I didn't really realize that they worked. I guess like I would see them on Facebook and I clicked on them. And I was like, there's no way these actually work. Nobody's buying phones from these. So
Why do you
I
think that
didn't do
though?
it.
Is it because they were so ugly?
Yeah, like actually, it's because they were ugly. And then also I just figured people would sell it on their own. Like people would go on Facebook Marketplace and just try to get full pop for it. And then when I talked to you and you told me how well you were doing and you're making I think like 7K a month at the time. I was like, why am I not running ads? Like I'm spending so much time every single day. Like honestly, probably like 4 or 5 hours per day, like just sifting through Facebook, sifting through OfferUp, going and meeting these people in their areas or like trying to get them to drive to me. But a lot of the time, like me wanting the profit. So like I'll just drive out to them, wasn't really doing anything. And I was just spending a lot of time like on the hustle itself. Whereas when I did get into Resellerator, my time invested on a day-to-day basis probably went from like 5+ hours to like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And what that was made up of was really just like sifting through the occasional ads, and packaging items that I was getting through the ads that I was buying items from. Like I occasionally got some good offers from Facebook, but what I realized was like that just wasn't the way to do it. And the amount of time that I was like spending negotiating with people, looking for ads or sorry, looking for things on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp was just ridiculous in terms of like what the payoff was. Like the payoff was good, but to be doing like 8 hours or like 5+ hours a day is like for $2,500 a month, it just doesn't really make sense. So to kind of have your ads come in, see me double how much money I was making in my first month with Resellerator, I was like, okay, this is how people actually run a business doing this. They don't do it through brute force like the way that I was. They do it through having like systems in place to simplify their life so that they can do whatever it is that they want and run a business.
To be clear, the reach out method is actually like the first pillar for the entire business. Like you got to learn that, right?
Yeah.
Like, and the way that we tell it to the students now is like you got to get your nose in. Like you have to get used to that word, and the best way to do that is through the reach out method. Now, as you know, on our onboarding experience, we have a very specific way of doing the reach out method now. Like it's hyper focused. So let's talk about that real quick because our onboarding experience is it's different, right? Um, so I think you met with Matt first, right?
Yep.
How did that experience go?
That was kind of when it changed things for me a little bit because when I mentioned earlier, all I did when I was on my own was I just did phones. I didn't really because like when I would go on YouTube, I saw like a lot of those like I fell trapped to those like clickbait titles of like, yo, like if you follow me, I'll teach you how to make $10,000 a month flipping just phones. And like they made it seem like they were flipping bricks, like selling drugs, honestly. Like it seemed like they were doing something illegal to get this money. And so like for me, I just like saw that and I was like, well, this is kind of fun. Like this is different. But at the end of the day, like it's not all that's there is what I learned when I got on that call from Matt. It's like it's not just phones. He kind of showed me the worlds of consoles. Found me my first. I think he found me like 12 deals. Like he found like Nintendo Switches. Found me Oculus Quests. Found me some PS4s. And that's when it kind of changed the game for me because when he showed me the Oculus and I saw so many of them in my area, because I live in a bigger city, like I'm kind of blessed to live in Austin. So for me, like every time I open up my Facebook Marketplace, there's at least 3 or 4 people selling a new Oculus, right? So just negotiating with these guys, if I could get it for 200 to 150, I know I can turn around and sell that for like 300 at the time. That's what they're selling for. Now they're kind of going for like if you can get them for 125 to 150, you can reflip that for like 200 to 250. But that was a really big game changer for me because he just kind of opened my eyes up to different possibilities other than just phones. And then when he set up my resale deck, I felt like that was something that I was really missing too because I just didn't have that structure. Like going out and starting a reflipping business, it felt like I was just flipping stuff. Like I wasn't running a business. And I was like running around with like a chicken with my head cut off, just like running around my city, running around like on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp, just trying to like find deals. But I had no structure, I had no systems. So like every day I'd wake up, be like, okay, I gotta find a new deal, I gotta find a new deal. And like at nighttime, I'd be frantically doing the same thing. Whereas when I started getting like my resale deck set up, when I had my ads coming in, when I had like negotiating classes, I'm like, oh shit, like this is actually like well systemized and I don't need to spend as much time doing this now because it's already done for me, right? And that's kind of why I joined is because I realized no matter what, like you pay for things. You either pay for things with your time or you pay for things with your money. And I already paid for this what I learned right now for 2 months of my time before I joined Resellerator. And I realized like I don't want to pay another 2 years to get to where some of these guys are making 10K a month. I'd rather just pay, a couple $1,000, learn from the best, plug into what he's doing, and then within 6 months, like your program is like within 6 months, then I actually have my systems built out and I don't need to wait 2 years, 3 years, however long it would take.
I love what you said there. And I tell this to the students all the time. It's like you either pay with time or money. Like pick your poison, right? They're both gonna hurt. One's just gonna hurt longer than the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it, man. So yeah, I mean, setting up resale deck and all of that, getting the ads rolling. I mean, it's a big change whenever you go from only doing reach outs to being able to do reach outs and have inbound as well. Inbound meaning people are literally messaging you, sell my iPhone, right? Like that's different. And it's a different type of customer too. And it helped. Like I literally just got a message that, iPhone 14, right? iPhone 14 Pro Max. I'm going to call them here in a minute after this call because that's I want to buy it, make that money. So what do you think was the biggest needle mover for you when it comes to Resellerator? Like you're a door knocker for Vivint. You already had all this stuff going. You're making good money, but like what was the needle mover the most probably inside of Resellerator for you?
Really good question. I would say it was the organization, kind of like what I mentioned earlier. It was the systems and the marketing, really, because what I was lacking before was just structure and routine. And what you kind of showed me was the way that you do it through like having your meetup time. So you're like, how I do it is I go about my day, but I'll set aside like 20 minutes when I'm at the gym to say, hey, I'll do pickups before and after while I'm at the gym or even during, right? Another thing is you said that sometimes you just hang out at Starbucks for like 30, 40 minutes, get some work done. but while you're there is like you have people dropping off items for you. And so you're not taking away from your day to run your business.
Yeah.
You're doing your daily tasks that you would do anyways, but you're having devices brought to you. And that was really a big eye opener for me, is basically being like, okay, I don't need to be like a slave to these people. I don't need to drive around the city. Is if they're too far, like depending on like the profit, cool, like I can go buy that. But for the most part, like negotiating a little bit more to get them to come to me. That was a big one because that allowed me to kind of take my time back. Um, Ads were a really big one because I like, again, as I didn't really even know that they would work, but also like I had no clue what I was doing with ads. So like not only did I not think they would work, I didn't know where to start if I was to do it. Do I hire somebody? Do I try to learn it? How long is that going to take? Do I even want to do that? Right. Whereas when you kind of did it for me, first of all, I learned how to actually do it. And I realized it's it's a difficult thing to pick up, but once you know the basics, by having somebody break it down for you, it's like, okay, cool. I can learn this. I can retain it because I watched YouTube videos before you, and I still couldn't figure it out. But then when you kind of went in and did it, explained why you were doing the things that you were doing, I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And
And then it's the eBay store as well. That was another thing too that helped out, is helping out with eBay. But yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, we just had I had a student this morning message us in his channel with us. Eric, he showed his eBay sales photo and then his like PayPal because he does direct buyer too. And he so far he's done 22,000 on eBay for the entire year. In the last 30 days, he did $10,000 in
Damn,
1 month. So,
man.
so
What is he primarily selling?
it's the same thing that happened to you, man. You know,
Yeah,
went from only phones to buying and reselling all these other things, right? Like whenever you do that, I mean, it's a per item type deal, right? If you buy more things, you make more money. Like that's just what
of
happens,
course. Yeah.
right? So, you know, I mean that's the great thing about the business is that part. And to go back to ads, whenever you said those YouTube guys were making it complicated, they only make it complicated because they don't know it well enough to explain it simply. And I feel like
Mm.
I try to explain it, or I feel like I do explain it in the simplest way possible, right?
Yeah.
The ads are meant to get photos in front of eyeballs that tell stories that tell people to click. That's it. Like that's all they are. Like,
Yeah.
and once that happens, uh, and to be clear, the ads are not what makes money. I want to be very clear about this. The ads are only meant to bring awareness to what you do. It's your job to make the money off of the ads. Advertising works no matter what. It's just a matter of how well, right? And then you also got to have the back end on top of that. So I love it, man. Any last words to people who might be on the fence about, checking out Resellerator? Yeah, any last words about that?
Yeah. It's totally worth it. First of all, like it's totally worth it, but also it's just gonna save you a ton of time. That was like the biggest thing for me, is how much time it saved me, and the ability to kind of plug in and plug out if I really need to. Is that like I could at any time, like if I needed to take a break from it, I just knew that like the systems are still going to be there, so it doesn't feel like I'm like restarting my business up. I really just like plug into Resell Deck, get my ads up and running again, and then I'll have leads coming in, and then start reaching out. Like everything's built out for you. You have the course, you have the ads that are already set up. You just turn them back on. You have Resell Deck that has everything organized for you. And then if you ever need help, you have 4 coaches that you can reach out to and get that extra help from, right? And it, for me, because it was something that I was really serious about starting, it felt like a no-brainer, because no matter what, to start a business, there's a cost to it. Whether it's a cost of actually buying the business itself, like buying the real estate, buying the storefront, or it's just like investing in like the skill set. Like you need help to start a business, right? It's like, yes, you can learn it on your own, but the guys that did it before you, they learned from like 5+ years of experience. And if you don't want to take 5 years to get to 5, 10K a month, just pay somebody else to help you do it. Because it's worth the time, it's worth the money, and it's an awesome course. I enjoyed it, and anybody that's joined it, I think, has kind of felt the same way about it.
I love it, dude. Well, John, I appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks for sharing all of this and how it helped you. And for those of you guys who are out there who are on the fence, feel free to book a call. Right? We don't take everybody. Number one, I want to point that out. We really only take the people that we think will win at this. So, there's actually no place to actually purchase below in wherever you're looking. You actually have to book a call, and we have to kind of vet you, make sure you're going to be a good fit. All right. So if you want to, go ahead and book a call below, and you'll get in touch with my team. And yeah, well, I appreciate you coming on, John, and doing this. And dude, here's cheers to many more months.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for making the course.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.